Okay, so let's talk about something really strange that went down in China back in January 2026. Two of the country's most powerful generals got purged, and then what happened next? Absolutely nothing. No protests, no loyalty pledges, just silence. And that silence, well, it's way more telling than any noisy announcement could ever be. Let's dig in and unpack why.
Here's how we're going to crack this puzzle. First, we'll dive right into that weird silence. Then, I'm going to introduce you to a really powerful diagnostic tool called the National Power Risk Model. We'll see how it works, use it to analyze what happened in 2026, and then put it all into historical context. And this is all going to lead us to a brand new and pretty critical question about the future of China's stability.
All right, first up, let's get right to the heart of this mystery. You've got this huge top-level purge, and then just quiet. So why was the absence of noise such a big deal?
So, picture this. Generals Zhang Youxia and Zhenli are officially out. The world, especially China watchers, is basically holding its breath, waiting for the big dramatic reaction from the People's Liberation Army. But it just never came. No statements, no editorials, nothing. You have to understand, in a system where loyalty is almost always performed publicly, this kind of silence isn't just unusual, it's a deliberate signal.
And the contrast with the past is just stark. I mean, look back at the purges of Bo Xilai in 2012 or Zhu Zaihe in 2014. The response then was like a carefully choreographed symphony of support. Every military branch, every regional command, they all rushed to publicly declare their unwavering loyalty. It was a political ritual. But in 2026, just deafening silence? This wasn't just a change in how they do things, it was a sign that the system itself had fundamentally shifted.
Now, to really get what this shift means, we need a different kind of tool, one that can see past all the surface-level politics and actually analyze the deep structural mechanics of the state. And that tool is the National Power Risk Model, or NPRM for short.
The easiest way to think about the NPRM is like an MRI for a government. It doesn't care about ideology or poll numbers. It's looking at the institutional skeleton, a country's basic structural ability to get things done. Can it make all its powerful parts, from the military to the bureaucracy, actually work together?
And this is a really crucial point. The NPRM is a diagnostic tool, not a moral judgment. It's not asking if a country is good or bad, or democratic versus authoritarian. It asks a much more basic question. Does the command and control system actually work? Can the central government actually make the rest of the state machinery move in sync? So how does this MRI for governments actually do its thing? Well, it breaks down a state's health into a really clear scale and a few key areas of focus. Let's take a quick look.
The model uses a simple scale, from 1.0 up to 5.9. You can kind of think of it like a golf score for stability. The lower the number, the better you're doing. A low score means the state's power structures are really stable and coordinated. A high score, well, that means you're looking at a serious risk of breakdown.
These scores are grouped into 5 levels. Level 1 is that well-oiled machine we were talking about. At level 2, things get a little sticky. It still works, but it's taking more and more effort. By level 3, different parts of the system are starting to go rogue. And at levels 4 and 5, you are looking at a serious crisis and even potential collapse. It's a really clear progression from coherence to chaos.
So to get that score, the model checks 4 vital signs. First, are the elites all on the same page? Second, does everyone with a gun follow the same orders? Third, can the central government actually get the provinces to do what it wants? And finally, can the state get the money, people, and supplies it needs to keep running? These 4 pillars basically determine the structural health of the entire state.
Okay, so we've got our tool. Now, let's put it to work. It's time to go back to that puzzle from the beginning and use the NPRM to actually score the silence of 2026.
This quote really gets to the heart of the analysis. The silence isn't a sign that the military is defying the leadership. The model suggests it's a sign of what's called functional degradation under high-pressure coordination. In plain English, the system is under so much intense pressure to be perfectly aligned that it's starting to fray in these subtle ways. It's not rebellion, it's a symptom of extreme stress.
So what's the magic number? After this unprecedented silence, what does the model say? It puts China right in the 2.8 to 3.3 range. And that might be a bit surprising. It's not a level 4 red alert crisis. It's right on that knife's edge between stressed but controllable and, uh-oh, things are starting to unravel.
So, the huge takeaway here isn't that a collapse is right around the corner. Not at all. It signals something much deeper, a profound transformation. The entire role of the military within the political system is being fundamentally re-engineered.
Just look at this breakdown. The military is no longer seen as a political partner whose loyalty has to be performed out in the open. It's being turned into a purely technical tool, like a scalpel in a surgeon's hand. Its job is to execute orders, period. In this new, super high-pressure world, even expressing a loyal political opinion is a risk. So the safest, most compliant thing you can do is just say nothing. Silence has literally become the new loyalty pledge.
Now, a score of around 3.1 can feel a little abstract. So to really understand what it means for China, we need to calibrate it. We need to see how it stacks up against other countries and other moments in history. And this is where things get really fascinating. The model scores China's structural stress at 3.1. Get this, that's the exact same score as the current United States. How is that even possible? Well, it's because the source of the stress is totally different. In the US, it's democratic gridlock. In China, it's intense, high-pressure, authoritarian control. Two completely different paths that lead to the same level of systemic stress. And just for comparison, North Korea's extreme system scores a much riskier 4.0.
This historical comparison makes the point crystal clear. The Taiping Rebellion was this huge external shock, but the Qing court's core command structure actually held together. That score is around a 3.0. But then you have the Southeast Mutual Protection in 1900. That was a total internal breakdown. Provincial governors just decided to ignore Beijing. Now that is a true coordination failure, and it scores a 4.5 or higher. The model doesn't care about how much chaos is happening outside. It cares about whether the inside is holding together.
And this matrix here shows that not all political shakeups are created equal. An official criticizing a leader, no real structural impact. Purging a top general, yeah, that causes a temporary bump in the risk score. But the only thing that really triggers a true systemic crisis, a 4.5 or higher, is when the military actually stops listening to a single chain of command. And that is absolutely not what happened in 2026. So, we've solved the puzzle. The silence wasn't defiance. It was a new kind of hyper-controlled obedience. But, solving one puzzle just reveals an even bigger one. What does this all mean for China's future? Are we looking at more stability or a new kind of brittleness?
Let's just boil it down to the single most important takeaway. What we're likely witnessing is a historic shift. China's military is being functionally demoted, going from a political pillar of the regime to a depoliticized technical tool. Its only job now is to wait for orders and execute them silently.
And this leaves us with the final, crucial question. I mean, on the surface, a military that just follows orders without a peep seems more stable, right? But does turning it into a silent, unthinking machine create a system that's actually more brittle? One that can't provide feedback, that can't absorb shocks? Could a system this rigid actually create a vacuum, allowing new, unexpected political forces to emerge from the shadows? That's the new puzzle, and it's the one we all need to be watching.